year read the headlines of the newspaper, or at least read the news through your phone. All social media are infested with the social leader murders, and how Colombia look forward to solving this case for a quiet now. Let's start with the fact that Colombia has experienced a paradox since the peace agreement was signed between the national government and the FARC. While there is a decrease in the numbers of deaths to the violence resulting from the armed conflict, an increase in the number of violations of the right to life of social leaders and human rights defenders. The patterns of aggressions against people who defend human rights cover different modalities, such as murders, injuries, sexual violence, and judicial proceedings, which develop as a part of a phenomenon that we have characterized as a social political violence. Evidently, the numbers talk for themselves in the charts. They are describing the homicides in different regions. As we can see, not all the homicide rates are decreasing, and this is a very concerning result. In this interactive map, it becomes clear the presence of violence throughout the years and in the diverse regions of Colombia. This is separated by colors and by little circles. Also, at the end, we can see the map of the social leaders' murders, and it shows us very worrying results. The aggression in the context of the dynamics of the armed confrontation, and for this reason do not have a direct relationship with the armed conflict between the Colombian state and the insurgents of armed groups. On the contrary, the causes and the motives are associated with the activity of the defending the rights of the victims whose action was confirmed with the structure of economic, social, and political power. Another point is that the phenomenon has been growing, and this increase in murders indicates that it's not something isolated, but there must be a structure, even if it's very hidden, which is clear that it cannot allow social leaders to grow. A feature that shows the systematicity in the most cases the crimes were committed through a hitman, that is, someone has to pay to commit the crime. To kill someone, in addition, the hitman, you need to follow it and monitor the victim. For that, you also need money. With an additional component, in very few cases, it has been possible to establish the intellectual authorship of the crimes in the territories. What it says is that also everyone knows who kills them. The authorities never have information. In fact, in some areas, they claim that the corruption comes from the police who play the illegal game and do not act even though they know who controls the territory. If the authorities were in such a twisted citizens, Colombia would have had an answer for the murder of social leaders.
Taking into account what has been previously said, nowadays many critics and social influencers are discussing this topic that has become our news. The death of the social leaders can be witnessed in the scene of political and military bursts of the can become ineffective with a lack of action. While some municipalities and villages in the country have been flooded with innocent blood of these people, we only try to help them. The rise of the desert, but sometimes many have denied them. The death goes slowly and massacre in slow motion, drop by drop, and with a society impassive and passive, leaving them idle. With fear and arms close to the sea, how their desires cannot be realized by the thirst for power over others, knowing that what they get their voice out of social leaders, making a change in a society can have serious consequences. They manage to give their statements about some real injustices that are happening. Many of the territories that live or live in this experience of being silenced. After the death of the social leaders, accept the idea of participate in a community action made after the departure of the park, but did not take into account that a statement would take a long time to show up power in this situation. Luis Gonzalez said that they are assassinating the leaders who fulfill their function. The criminal groups see them as the obstacle to their criminal action. Senator critics had made several cartoons about this reality today. Disappear of social leaders, showing us that this is not really a game of as it says. We are in a country in which they silence a person who wants to take out of intensive care of human rights matter express who the rally of the social leaders will end of all his cartoons show the death of all them. A week ago, some influencers and social leaders made a reggaeton in which they communicate the reality of the social leaders who show in through a video with the intention of reach more as recent generations, which turn out to be more visual and depend on the media such as YouTube, Instagram, etc. This is not the first time that this strategy is used, but thanks to the encouraging result of the video the reggaeton of corruption, they try to reach the same end where the majority of Colombians can become aware to the solution of the murders.
Los paracos guerrillos sin paz, disidencias grises, las águilas negras, nos matan a todos y algunos dirán que es lío de faldas, orden de las suegras. No, no tenemos views.
They are killing us. In particular, this phrase is mainly heard in the departments of Cauca, Putumayo, North Santander, Antioquia, Córdoba, Meta, Nariño, and even the Valle del Cauca, witnessed by a large number of social leaders through text messages, pamphlets, and even emails. Shut the fuck up if you want to die. A violent phrase that a bunch of our leaders have been received through these years. Most of cases involves land, environmental, and community leaders, such as those municipalities are with the greatest presence of illicit crops, which serve as drug traffic route and where illicit and illegal medicine subsists, have the highest homicide rates, likewise also die for reasons unrelated to their activities. According to human rights defender, only 23% protection schemes. Above all, it is said that the police and the prosecutor's office have been carrying out protective measurements and analysis of this fact. But even though they cannot see great security by the arrival of a variety of elections of all kinds, although measurements are being taken, they do not seem to be enough. Therefore, the proposal we can offer is not only in better protection measurements by the prosecution and even the police. It is a greater rigor of traits because the authorities should be warned after the increase of homicides of social leaders. Since that, the government must concentrate its efforts on protecting those who live. It is time to the discussion to become more important, so that substantive differences arise beyond the political branch. Since the leaders who play their role are assassinated. In Colombia, apparently, we love collecting cards. This list grows widely every year, because today citizens are as mediatic and as easy to be silent, such as the social leaders are getting murdered by the paracos. That's a fact, but saying it out loud is just a deadline.
As Puya's channel said, practically living in this country, the possibility of assassination comes with your ID. We lack the security and investigation system. The state is not able to answer who got killed and why. After the statistics, we can only show the inability of the state to protect those people. How hypocrite, talking about a peace treaty and that the ex-president Juan Manuel Santos receives a Nobel from it. If we are being witnesses of such brutal murders, will the government will reach social legal safety when? Are we leading our country to peace or total destruction? There are blood in our hands. Are we willing to keep seeing the good guys die just because they talk? You tell me.